All right, so let's get to cooking some of those things we picked up in my garden in the previous video. I do apologize, my voice is a bit croaky. I have a little bit of a cold at the moment, but I wanted to bring you this video because there's some yummy food being cooked in here. So I have the recipe for this linked below, but we've got some herbs there from my garden, some veggies from my garden, including the zucchinis. And we're going to need some flour, baking powder, milk, eggs, which is kind of the base for this recipe, baby spinach, and we also have tuna. Now, you don't have to use tuna. I just like, the original recipe doesn't call for it, but I like adding it for a bit of extra protein. So let's get cooking with this stuff. And if you haven't already, please subscribe and like this video. It really helps my channel. If we haven't met before, my name is Emmy, and you can follow me over at simpleessentials.life over on Instagram. I also have a channel all about minimalism and simplifying your life. Anywho, in this channel, we talk all about food, meal prep, and grocery hauls. So if you like that kind of stuff, make sure to follow along. Here I'm just grating up my zucchini, and this is a 1 bowl recipe. You only need 1 bowl to prepare everything. But you may not know that zucchini holds a lot of water. So before we get started with all the other ingredients and mix them in the one and same bowl, we are going to squeeze the liquid out of the zucchini. Now you can see how much liquid is coming out of it, and getting rid of this at the start means that you will have a much better slice in the end. So also, it doesn't stain your towel. I've had that question before. I normally just throw that little kitchen towel in the wash, but if you are worried, you can obviously use paper towel or something instead. I just find that it's a bit more messy. Anywho, I will leave you to watch me chop up some stuff and get this dish assembled. I just love how quickly this dish comes together, and I didn't have any cooking spray on hand, so I just sprinkled some good old olive oil in this baking dish and spread it out with some paper towel. And yeah, then we're just going to empty the well-combined contents of the bowl. This is such an easy lunch. I make this summertime, wintertime. Both my husband and I really like it, and this makes 6 pretty good lunch-size portions. Now, in the oven this goes, and I think it's one of those things that just is a really comforting dish. And if you like lemon, by the way, I can highly recommend some lemon pepper sprinkled on this as well. So you're going to bake that for about 30 to 35 minutes or so, and your kitchen is going to smell amazing, I assure you. And this is something I've been making for years. It's not my recipe, but the tuna does actually add that extra bit of protein. So we're going to let that cool, and then we're going to put it in containers in the fridge. All right, so today we are cooking up a really simple stew. I'm going to be using my big pot here. It's a Dutch oven I picked up recently. I actually got this for free in my local pay nothing, buy nothing group. So anyway, I've been enjoying that. And these are the ingredients. This is a great use it up meal. So over here we've got some bay leaves, pepper. I think I'm going to throw in a few just peppercorns as well, some salt and some beef stock cubes. We're going to use 2 cans of diced tomatoes. You can add more if you want to. And then I have a lot of random veggies in my fridge that need using up. So this is from my own garden. I did a video last week about my veggie patch. So if you haven't seen that yet, feel free to click on the link below. We did pizzas the other night. So I've got some mushroom here. Some is cut up and some is needs to be cut up. So we're going to use this up as well. Got a couple of potatoes, some carrot. This is beef mince from my local butcher. And then I have some random onions that were cut up and kind of ready to use up. So we are going to throw this together. This is a foolproof meal and it's so easy to make, even for those of you out there who are not used to cooking. So let's get started. My apologies for my voice being a bit croaky. I am actually at the tail end of a cold, but anyway, girls still gotta eat, right? So here we have some olive oil. I forgot to show you that. We're going to be using that to cook up the onion and mushroom, etc. I'm also going to be using a little bit of this minced garlic. Fresh garlic is obviously even better, but I don't have any at home. And I normally don't use this in this dish, but I'm going to try it with some Worcester sauce. I think this is going to be really nice to go with the, because I've got beef there, I've got the beef stock cubes. So anyway, that's all we're going to need. I will link a recipe below, but this is kind of a dish that I'm winging and changing up every single time. So let's get cooking. So what I normally do to get all the flavor out is I pour in about a cup of the 2 stock cubes mixed in the water, and then I do fill up each of the 2 cans of diced tomato with water as well. Now you can see I'm balancing here on a very full pot, but I was able to cook this whole meal without it boiling over. So adding a little bit of salt, throwing in a bay leaf. Didn't end up adding any extra peppercorns. You obviously can. You can chuck in a dash of chili as well if you like it a little bit more spicy. So letting this simmer on my stove and giving it a stir every now and then just to check and make sure that everything is fully coated as well. I do let this simmer with a lid on so that the liquid line doesn't go down too much, but it's totally up to you. But it was smelling really wonderful in my house at this point. And then about half an hour later, you are ready to check. And the thing I normally find is that the potato is definitely the one to check for first. So I'm fishing out my bay leaf and then just making sure to test the potato for softness, making sure that it's sort of fork tender without being potato mash mushy. And then I'm also just tasting for salt and seasoning. I did end up adding a little sprinkle of chili powder to this dish just because it needed a little bit of a kick, but it was really, really tasty and turned out very, very yummy. And on this particular night, we were having this soup for dinner, but I did also use this opportunity to scoop this up in containers. Now these are glass containers with plastic lids on them, and you can absolutely freeze these sort of things. Just don't overfill them, because obviously liquid expands when you freeze it. So just dishing up those 4 pretty generous portions plus dinner for the evening, along with my homemade crusty bread. It was really, really comforting on a very cold night. And while I am waiting for something else to cook in the kitchen, I thought I'd whip up a really quick chocolate cake. This is a really simple recipe. I will link it below. It is a very common thing in Sweden called kladdkaka. And to make it, it's basically a gooey kind of fudgy chocolate cake. So you need some white sugar. I'm going to use some plain flour. This is gluten-free. I've just got a bit of extra in case I don't have enough. We need some baking cocoa, some vanilla extract or vanilla powder, some butter that I've got melting on the stove right now, 2 eggs, and I'm going to be using licorice powder. This is actually something I buy whenever I go back to Sweden to visit family, so I will be restocking this year. If you don't like salty licorice, it tends to be kind of a Scandinavian Dutch thing. If you don't like it, obviously you can leave this one out and only use the basic ingredients. So let's dive in. Now this is a really nostalgic recipe for me because I've made this ever since I was a kid, and especially when I was at uni. We got my melted butter there just cooling off a little bit on the side there. Lumi helping out in the background too. But yeah, I used to make this all the time when I was a poor student and really craved chocolate and, you know, didn't really want to go. You can make this into muffins. I'm going to bake it in a cake tin today. And here is my licorice powder. So I've just whisked up my sugar and my eggs, and now we're going to mix in all the other ingredients and save the flour for last. Like I said, I'll link a basic recipe below for you. The vanilla again is also optional, but I think it's really quite nice in this dish. And I'm going to add in my butter as well, and we're going to stir this up and combine it well. And yeah, this is just so nice. My husband loves when I surprise bake. I don't bake a lot of things. I have a couple of signature things, but he gets so happy. And because he's gluten-free, this is one dish where you can swap like for like with gluten-free flour for regular flour. Now, I did go and bring him the bowl afterwards because he loves licking the bowl for this particular recipe. Otherwise, I will fight him for it. But yeah, so this is now ready. So we're gonna, just got a little bit of butter there on a paper towel, and I'm just greasing my baking tin. You could also use baking paper or something like that if you preferred to do that. And now we're just going to scrape this amazing goodness in here. I had the oven going on the background anyway for another recipe, so I figured why not bake a cake while I've got my, I clearly need a new spatula as well. Why don't bake a cake while I've got my oven running? So in it goes. Again, the measurements and temperatures are linked below. Cook for about 25 minutes and then take it out and let it cool for a little bit before you serve it. Now, I often serve this with ice cream, but most commonly actually with my homemade yogurt, which I did make in a previous episode. And the yogurt is really nice and obviously a lot healthier than whipped cream, etc. I hope you try some of these recipes and have an amazing week. I look forward to see you in the next video where we'll be doing another grocery haul. See you then. Bye.